weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Well, hello and welcome to our weekly show. My name is Zach, and this is a show I kind of do every week where I answer questions I get during the week. I get a lot of emails, like more emails than I can answer with just random questions, and I pick a few and cover them here just live. And so there's a chance to answer those questions if you're interested, or to ask your own questions. So if you want to post a comment, ask some random question, I'll stay here as long as it takes to get all these questions answered. My friend Dougie's supposed to join me today, so we'll see if Dougie is able to pop in. But with that, let's get started. And I just need to, let's see, I have to do some technical stuff here. Sorry, sometimes I'm still learning how to do this. I'm going to bring up the first question. And the first question is recommendations for whitewater clubs or rafting groups near Spokane. So actually, let me go to Google for that. I don't really know of any, but let's see what we can find with Google here. New window, and I'll open this up. Share screen. Let's see. And so I'm just going to search for Spokane. Oh, there it is right there. This is it. Nope, that's not it. Spokane rafting groups. Let's see what comes up. And there's a whitewater rafting, looks like a park, club. I think that's where I just was. There we go. Northwest Whitewater Association. And let's go to their website. It's a whitewater club based in Spokane, Washington. Their goal is to promote whitewater boating, safety, and conservation. This sounds pretty perfect. Yeah, so here it is, Northwest Whitewater Association, headed in Spokane, and it looks like they have a Facebook page, and they're associated with American Whitewater. They have 2021 meetings, so they're active. So yeah, just the Northwest Whitewater Association, and it's just northwestwhitewater.org. So that's that question. Let's pull up the next one. Share screen. Sorry, this takes me a second. I have to come up with the stuff. And the next question is, I just bought someone an uncut Warner Nomad, which I guess is a paddle, for their birthday, and scared to cut it. They're 5'10" and growing a bit still, and will probably topple. So they're about 5'10", 6 feet. Do you have any recommendations for what size to cut the paddle? I'm not an expert at this stuff. I'd call Warner maybe. But I know that most paddles for most people are 60 inches. I have these commercial raft paddles. Let me grab one real quick. And I'll make myself big here. So, oops, wrong one. Let's see if I did it. Sorry, I'm still learning how to do this. There we go. This is just a regular old raft paddle that we use commercially. And it's 60 inches. So if this fits anybody from like 5'1" to 6'5", it's pretty much a standard length. So I guess you can't go wrong with 60 inches. Man, I don't know if I'd cut a paddle myself either, but that's my best guess. I'd go with 60 inches. All right. And then one more question here. Share screen. And the last question is, oops. Can you review this knife? Wiltshire 10, offshore rescue. Okay, that's a lot of words. Let me see if I can, let's pull that one up in Google too. I'm going to go ahead and just search for it while I have it on here. It's the Wiltshire, this is very specific, 10192 offshore rescue knife, fixed blade, fluorescent. I like this fluorescent. Let's see what Google picks up. Share. So I have to keep switching between Google and this. Let's check this thing out. I'm definitely a connoisseur of rescue knives. So, my first instinct is I'm not a big fan of external knives, and I mean for a couple reasons. One is they just like I think a lot of people wear them just to look cool because it's like a ornament on their PFD that makes them look tough. Two, they fall out a lot, and three, like when I'm pulling myself back into a rafting, I'm caught on a lot. It's just more stuff outside of a PFD is more stuff to get caught on. That's just my opinion. So this thing looks pretty interesting. And looking at it closely here, my first thing is it's $120 Canadian, which I think is a good thing. I think a lot of problems with external knives is that they're just bad knives. They're not made very well, and they're like $30, $40. And I think by spending more, you're going to get a better quality edge. And my favorite river knife right now are these Spyderco serrated edge knives. And this isn't the exact one because it has a pointed end. I use this for other stuff, but these knives cut rope so well. This serrated edge is unreal. They're expensive. These are like the $120, $130 range too. This is not cheap, but the quality of the knife I really value. So I mean, I can see like this one's pretty sweet because it's expensive. It looks cool. I mean, it's colorful. So I think when I'm looking at a knife, I'm looking at being colorful. So it's colorful, which is cool. It looks like, I don't know if you can see the arrow right here. That's the trigger to release it. So one of the issues with a lot of external frame knives is that they fall out. They don't have like a good thing to hold them in. So a lot of them have bungee cords around them and zip ties everywhere, which I'm not a big fan of. This looks like it has a trigger, which I think is amazing. This is what needs to be invented as the ultimate river knife with a trigger. And it has a blunt tip. Let's see. Let's look at this picture. And that's the knife. So, and it's fully serrated, has a blunt tip. So for me, I'm a fan. Just from what I've seen on the internet, I'm a fan. Serrated edge, full serrated edge, the whole length. It's not like some river knives where it's like partially serrated, partially knife. It's a blunt tip so you can't stab yourself on accident. It's colorful so you can see it. It looks like a nice grip. And I think I even saw there's like that's not plastic. It'd be cool if there's like a little rubberized part. Maybe this is rubberized, but if it's a little rubberized, if they're just really hard, sometimes they're hard to pull off. A little rubberized helps. And if this is a triggering mechanism, this looks pretty sweet, and it's expensive, which tells me it's a high quality steel. So without actually you having in my hand to cut something with and play with, this looks awesome. I might even get one. Let's see what it's made for, because the design. Yeah, so the secured sheath enables the knife to have multiple application points on a sailor life jacket. So it's made for sailing, but it can attach to a life jacket. It looks like. Fully serrated edge, all these things. A shackle key, I'm not sure what that is. A polyurethane handle for better grip. Good grip is awesome. Weight 119 grams. I don't know if that's good or not, but weight's a factor. Yeah, that's a locking trigger right there, which is really cool. A shackle key, I don't know what that is, but I mean, this honestly could be the best external knife ever made. It's pretty cool. So thanks for sharing this with me. It's a nice thing. So those are the questions that came with. Here's some questions that popped up. Whoever asked about Spokane, hit me up on Facebook. Oh, cool. Made a connection. Sweet. Aaron, Listening Steep. Yeah, those of you that haven't listened to the Leading Steep podcast, I'll bring that up right now too. It's a great podcast. And Barry Cruz is a longtime river guide, and he's worked in the industry for a long time. He's still boats class 5. He's super awesome guy. And it's just leadingsteep.com. And you can find his podcast here. It's on all the places. He hasn't done a lot of them recently. He's done 10 episodes with some cool people. I even was a guest one episode. So of course I'm gonna brag about it a little bit, but it's a great podcast. So yeah, thanks for asking about that. I guess I'll back up there. Aaron, a Tom Peters book. Oh man, they're all really good. There's one, it's like the Excellence 50. Tom, let me Google it really quick. Tom Peters Excellence. I have one of his books. Let's see. Thinkers 50. No. Tom Peters, one of my. This is we're talking about rafting on this live show, but he's one of my favorite one of my favorite authors, and I read a lot of business books. In Search of Excellence is this classic book right here he wrote in the 80s, a long time ago. He writes a lot of excellence in leadership. I've read this one. This one's good. 50 lists. Product 50. There's one like they call. Oh, here we go. Reimagine. This is probably my favorite one. I have this one broken into 4 parts, but this one to me changed how I run a business and how I've built Northwest Rafting Company. So for me, this one, Reimagine, is written in 2003, a while ago, but I think it's all still really, really relevant. Ducky for multi-day self-support trips. I'm gonna go with first of all the one that I designed, the Wing Jimbo, and we can pull that up here too. Wing Jimbo. I designed this one for the running the Chetco. So the Chetco is a multi-day trip. Let's pull it up here. And it's the idea behind this was we took an alpaca, like a pack raft, and the idea of like the big tubes in the front and the back and on the side, and just made it longer and more like an inflatable kayak, and made it out of course, like little beefier materials. So you can see in this example, this guy's got a big dry bag up front, a small dry bag in the back. And you can actually, I've run this on the Chetco with 3 like bags so tall I can barely see over them, and 2 in the back. So I'm a couple 100 pounds. I've easily put a couple 100 pounds in this thing. And for me, it's performed still really well. It's designed with this backrest thwart to sit up against, and there's like a footrest thwart here if you don't want to if you don't have a dry bag in the front. So we don't have the footrest thwart in the front, but this is a solid multi-day thing. Now it's only the ones I have this says 30 pounds somewhere. Mine are 22 pounds. It could be the material. So I have the super light material for hiking it in, but I think this is for me like the ultimate design for doing multi-days. Same thing. We had the Sotar ATV is almost the same design. Like I designed this boat for Sotar first called the ATV. It's really similar to this. This is just that design, like tweaked a little bit and made lighter. I think that one's especially for low water. And I think the key why this one is so good for low water versus others, and why we take down the Chetco at super low flows, is just because it's low doesn't mean you want your boat to be small. Like on the middle fork of the Salmon, when we're doing high water, like super, super low water trips, we have the 22-foot sweep boat out there. The lowest water we've had all year, it's 22-foot boat out there. It's because if you have the weight on the boat spread out, the boat sits higher in the water and you can float over things. And so if you're going to have the same amount of weight, I'd much rather have a bigger boat with more like surface area it's on than something smaller and pointier, because it spreads the weight out. And if you do get stuck, it's super easy to unpull it. So for me, this is probably like my favorite, I think the best multi-day boat. But any of the other ones that are, their 2-person boats are really good. Another one to consider would be the High Side Padillac. It's not made for multi-day trips. And there's a 2-person version. So it's just a big long boat. Again, it's about the same size. It just has pointier ends. It's going to be a little heavier, of course, but this would be a solid boat because it has a lot of room. And then, if you're going to go light, I think the Air Backraft is a way to go. I've used the Air Backraft a bunch. Let me find Air. Why can't I find Air's website? It seems like I should be able to find Air's website really easy here. Right, Google Air Backraft. Oh, I need an E on there. Air Backraft. There we go. So if you're going to go lightweight, kind of go backpacking style, the Backraft is sweet. This thing's only 9 pounds. There's two lengths. You definitely want the longer one, but I've used this a bunch for overnight trips too. So that's what I would think. And anything big enough works. Oh, Mark Rivers, PT, DPT, badass. Oh man. I think most people would say Opal Creek, but it's closed right now because there's fires there. And I'm not sure if it's going to open up when you're here. Quartzville Creek is amazing. There's a lot, Mark. That's the whole west side of the Cascades. But you can come up to the gorge. You're a couple hours from, the plethora runs up here in Hood River. and they're not that far from Southern Oregon to hit stuff like the Illinois. So, I mean, right in Salem's backyard, there's a bunch of stuff not too far away. I haven't paddled there that much, but Courtsville Creek and Opal Creek would be on top of my list. Yeah, of course. Hopefully that helps. If you get it, I think they're the person sent it to me. If you get it, I'd love to hear how it goes. It looks super cool. Stuck on what raft size to get? A Saturn 9.5. Is that 9.5 feet for $400? I want to upgrade. Yeah, I mean, the $400 raft is probably not going to cut it. Yeah, I mean, a 9.5 raft. I don't even know. I didn't know they made them that small. That's basically an inflatable kayak. If you want to do multi-day trips, I'm going to say just go with the 16-foot boat. It's 16 foot. That's my thing. You can get away with the 14. You can get away with the 13. 18s are awesome too, but I'm going to say go with the 16. And in terms of brand, I mean, it's all, you get what you pay for. So, I'd go with a Wing or a Sotar or Moravia as like a top tier if you want to spend the money. If you want to save money, a Rocky Mountain makes a cool 16-foot. High Side makes an awesome 16-foot. They're just different materials, so they may not last as long and perform as well. But I'd probably go with one of the big three, Wing, Sotar, Moravia for quality, and then High Side or RMR for smaller. And 16 is what you should get, I think, but you're probably going to have the 14. Have you ever tried to plan a private trip? I mean, November. It almost always runs in November. I mean, it's probably running. Chris is probably running right now, right? Let's go back. Let's look at this. Let's go back to my Google thing here. I'll go to if you Google Illinois River flow prediction. If you go down, I have a page here I created on Whitewater Guidebook that has all the graphs in one spot. So there's like this prediction graph. There's this prediction graph. Oops, that's just advertising. There's this prediction graph, and then the real graph. I mean, right now looks like 2,600. It's a pretty awesome flow for the Illinois. And so the season for the Illinois is November. I mean, I guess October through May. And a friend of mine studied the river flows here, and it ran like, depending what you call running, like I think a good range of flows is like 900 to 2,000 for most people. Above that, it starts to get scary. Below that, it gets really technical. But like realistically, a really good boater could go like 600 to like 3,000, 3,500. And I think it runs like 60% of the days of November through May on a normal year. It runs a lot more than people think. So, I mean, yeah, go now. February is a great time to go too. I've had some good weather trips in February. It's typically pretty reliable. But, if you're coming from the East Coast, Chris, I mean, good luck. And the thing about the Illinois is you plan a trip, and if it's too high, too low, the weather's just awful, you always have the Rogue as a backup. So you can just, the Rogue runs year round. You can always do the shuttle. So, worst case scenario is do the Rogue, which is not a bad backup. So, well, thanks for all the questions, everyone. This is just something we do on Tuesdays to just answer some quick questions, and both ones that have been submitted during the week, but also things that come up. Yeah, if that's it, I'll see you all next week. See you on the Friday show. We'll do the Friday show again at 2:00. All right, thanks.